This is Joan Nagel, the Chair of the North Wales Water Authority Board of Directors, calling the Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020 meeting of the Board of Directors to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Niederheiser.
Here.
Mr. McDevitt.
Here.
Ms. Mengel. She's here. I don't know whether, I think she stepped away.
All right.
All right, I'll come back. Mr. Tenney.
Here.
Ms. Nagel.
Here. All right. I think we're going to hear from the solicitor to review the virtual meeting process for us.
We're not going to do the pledge.
There is no flag.
Okay, we don't have one to pop up on the screen. Okay, as anyone who is observing this meeting can see, that this is unlike any other North Wales Water Authority meeting that we have ever had before. This one is being done with board members, staff members, professionals at their, I think everyone's at their homes or maybe at their offices. With the COVID-19 pandemic and all of the restrictions that have been placed on government entities and on businesses, we have had to do our meeting in this manner. The governor, through executive orders and through signing various bills into law, and other state agencies, including the Office of Open Records, have provided both guidance and a legal manner in which meetings can now all be conducted remotely. Normally, we are all required to either be in the room or have at least one person in the room. So members of the public who want to participate in our meeting can appear and can be heard on matters of concern to them. Because of the stay-at-home orders, because against the restrictions against gatherings in large groups, the state has allowed us to conduct the meetings in the manner in which we are doing tonight. Everything that we are doing tonight is legal. Every action we take will be enforceable, and as long as we provide an opportunity for members of the public to participate if they wish, we're good to go. And as long as we post this meeting on our website within a reasonable time frame after the meeting occurs. If there are any members of the public who are listening and who want to make a public comment during the meeting, they should hit *9 on their phones. That will indicate to the chair that someone wishes to make public comment, and when appropriate, you will be called upon to make public comment.
All right, thank you. Now, do I have a motion for approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 11th, 2020?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second, thank you. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Abstentions? The yes has it. Thank you. We are now at the period of time for public comment. If there is anyone who would like to offer a public comment, please do so now. Hearing no request for public comment, We will go on the agenda to the resolutions.
Thank you. This is Bob Bender, the Executive Director, and I would like to give the board members a brief overview of each resolution, and then certainly if you see fit, someone might move to enact. I'll do them one at a time. The first resolution you have tonight is Resolution 2020-7, and this resolution is a resolution authorizing your staff to allow for some discretion and deferral of the enforcement of delinquent accounts during the state of emergency. And more specifically, it allows for to defer the imposition of interest and penalties or the issuance of shut-off order with regards to a delinquent account for up to 12 months as deemed necessary by the authority and discretion, and or to approve a payment schedule to allow a customer to pay the outstanding balance on a delinquent account over time for a period, again, up to 12 months as deemed necessary by the authority. What your staff will do is speak privately with each customer if they indicate that they are having fiscal distress and wish to partake of a payment plan, and we will work and we will be flexible and reasonable, and we will allow customers up to 12 months to make payment arrangements. If anything needs to extend further than that, we will bring that to the attention of the board and ask for additional authority. But at this time, I think we can get it done with a 12-month period. So I recommend and request your consideration of the resolution as presented.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Yes has it. Back to Mr. Bender.
Thank you. The next resolution, number 8, is a resolution which recognizes the recent enactment of the Military Installation Remediation and Infrastructure Authority. It's MIRIA. And basically, in a summarized version, the legislators have, and the governor has approved a new program, and a new authority has been developed to deal with the contamination that has been alleged to have come from the former Willow Grove Naval Air Station and those facilities, and contaminated the public water supplies and many, many wells, both public and private, surrounding that base. The way this works is that the state has agreed to collect the monies that they typically collect from businesses within Horsham Township, where the base is located. And rather than have the state take that money is going to be redirected to the new authority for use by the municipalities and water authorities, such as North Wales, that have been adversely affected by the groundwater contamination. This resolution authorizes your staff, myself, and the rest of the folks that will aid me in preparing a grant application and submitting it to the state, to the authority for these funds. There are 2 grants that we're considering. One, and the first, is a grant that would provide us reimbursement for some investments we've made over the last 2 years to provide emergency interconnects to Warrington, Warminster, and Horsham. If you remember, those costs were split between our authority and their municipality or authority. And the second we are considering, which would be a reimbursement to residents of a portion of our system that paid extra fees for a period of time due to the contamination and the purchase of water in Warrington Township to us. So there is a process we're going through. It's due May 15th. We're working hard to get that done. And I believe this is to the benefit of the authority and to the benefit of our customers, because this money will obviously be used to reimburse us for expenses. Again, I recommend and request your approval of the resolution as presented.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Question.
Go.
Is the funding, the funder, the funding provider, is this the federal government or is this the military?
This is actually, it is businesses located in Horsham Township. And the way this works, instead of the state taking the sales tax and keeping it, well, actually, the state will still collect the sales tax. The state will still collect the business taxes, whatever they would collect from these businesses. Instead of the state keeping it in their coffers, it will be returned back to this authority for distribution. So we won't cost these businesses an extra penny. They do have a little bit of bookkeeping to do, but basically they're going to say, instead of the state taking that money, they're going to return it back to the community that has been dealing with the contamination.
Okay.
So it's a very unique program. It's a great program, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't know who the fund maker was.
Yep, it's actually the local business taxes that would otherwise be sent to the state.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything further? All those in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed, no. The yes has it. Thank you. We go on. There are no bids and contracts this meeting.
We have one more, Joan.
Solicitors report.
There's another resolution.
Resolution, right. Number 9?
Yeah, number 9. I'm sorry, I should have started. Resolution number 9, bit of a belt and suspenders resolution, in that we're not sure yet whether or not a declaration of state of emergency will benefit the authority, but it might. And what I have in my mind, and the reason I discussed this with the solicitor, and we both, I think, felt it was appropriate to put this before the board, is when we've had large emergencies, such as the hurricane a few years ago, or major floods or snowstorms. If there is money available through the state or federal government, and we don't declare the state of emergency, in most cases, you're not eligible for reimbursement. That's why many times you'll see the towns and the boroughs declare a state of emergency, because they hope that if money becomes available, that will help qualify for it. So we think it's best that the authority, not knowing whether there will be funds available in the future, declare a state of emergency for water operations, which then will position us to at least get in line for any reimbursements that might become available. So that will be my last one I recognize, and I request your approval of.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Oh, one question from you. I know we've seen like the emails, the news about the payroll protection program, things like that. Most of those are for private businesses or nonprofit organizations. Is there any talk about programs for authorities like ours, or is this just more of a, I'd rather have this in hand if something does become available, or is this, do we know of programs that are actually coming down the pike for this?
That's a good question. The legislation, as I read it, was really geared towards the business community. However, being a member of the board of directors of PMAA, I brought to PMAA the idea of lobbying to also include municipal authorities in that funding. They have done so. I don't know whether or not we will ultimately be eligible, but I believe that nothing bad will happen from adopting this resolution. It might be a criteria.
Right.
Thank you.
Great. Anything further? All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. The yes has it. And now we can go on to solicitor's report.
Thank you. Yeah, nothing's new. We really didn't do anything this past month.
We're all exhausted.
Obviously, from the last time we met until tonight, our focus has been on working with Bob and all the members of the authority administration in how to deal with this very unprecedented time. We've spent a fair amount of time over the last month trying to provide some guidance. Bob has probably heard me use the phrase the best available information multiple times over the last month, because as all of you have probably seen, things have changed, not just overnight, but sometimes they have changed from morning until the afternoon. I think what I'm about to tell you, all of you know anyway, is Bob and the authority staff have been ahead of the curve on almost everything, and very often what we have been providing for Bob has more been confirmation that the authority is doing the right thing than having to tell the authority what they need to do the right thing. So I think as best as we can from a legal perspective, we are covered with respect to our employees, with respect to our customers. And I think, whatever comes ahead in the coming months, we'll also be ready to make sure that the authority is protected.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your kind words.
Yep.
Great, thank you very much.
Question for the solicitor.
Oh, sorry.
Question for the solicitor. Michael, after tonight's meeting, do we meet with Rita Jean for signage tomorrow, or are we going to have DocuSigns?
So if the board wants to do things by DocuSign or electronic signature, you can do it that way. I do not know what your preference is with regards to signing documents. I will tell you that my clients are pretty much all over the board with this. Some are signing electronically. Some are having documents delivered to their houses and they are signing and then they are being returned. And some are coming into the township or authority or borough building to sign. It's entirely what the board would want to do.
Well,
if the
I'll
board,
do whatever Joan wants. I'll defer to Joan.
right, if you want to do electronic signatures, then all I would say is that by the May meeting, we'll prepare a resolution for you allowing for electronic signatures or remote signatures during the period of the stay-at-home order, just to make sure it's ratified. But other than that, we believe that based on all of the executive orders from the governor, that you can deviate from your normal procedures and do electronic signatures.
Thank you.
All right, we will discuss with Rita Jean to see how we can arrange this tomorrow.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, and engineers report.
Thank you. The only thing I have to update you with is the fact that as of tomorrow, we'll be advertising for the General Hancock water storage tank construction contract. That will be on pen bid beginning tomorrow. Bid opening will be May 20th.
Right, thank you.
Great.
I'm sorry, in the solicitor's report, were we to have the Firefox Phase 3 e-job discussed at that point? Or does that go under the operations report?
No, go ahead, Rita.
I was just going to say that I have a side note here because it wasn't on the original agenda. So, but I do have it in the minutes notes, and I just got to it. It's a contract for professional services for Firefox Phase 3. That was you should have received a copy of it as an extra email Yesterday?
I have a question about that. Where is it?
It's down off of 309. The actual name of the subdivision down there is Walnut Creek. So it's right across from Line Street. This phase 3 was an old well field that North Penn had, and the developer, they don't need the well anymore. The developer bought it. It's only 6 townhomes. It's not a very big project whatsoever. They already have almost, I think it's 250 townhomes under construction down at that point.
Oh, I see. It's right next to Walnut Street.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there is a motion as written. Do I have a move? Do I have a motion?
So move on Crystal Road Enterprises LLC.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. The yes has it. Thank you. See if I can get the rest of this agenda straight here. Okay. Operations report.
Yes, operations report on page 11. Nothing out of the ordinary really to report. So unless someone has some questions, I have nothing further.
Okay, questions for the
I
operation?
do. Just a quick question and just an understanding, not just with operations, but all employees. What is the breakdown between essential and non-essential for the North Wales Water Authority?
We have, this is Bob Bender. We have determined that we use the term life-sustaining, which means we deliver safe and clean water to the homes. We do all the support things necessary to provide that water to the homes, which means if someone has a leak, we'll repair it because it's an emergency.
Yeah.
We do all the mandatory testing, all the water sampling. We will do limited flushing of hydrants when it's necessary to maintain water quality. We'll replace a meter if it's leaking in someone's basement with proper safeguards. But what we won't do are optional services. Right now, if it's something that people want to do, for instance, we've had some requests recently for service calls for someone who wanted a lawn sprinkler meter put in. We've told them that has to be deferred at this time. Your grass is nice, but it's not life-sustaining. So we've gone to that. So it's life-sustaining services and the administrative support services to make that possible.
Okay. So everybody then is essential as life-sustaining.
Yeah, and with not being glib about this, but if our employees weren't essential, they shouldn't be working here. So all of our employees are essential because
hey, I like it. I like it.
We are in a business of supporting our customers and their very lives. Water is necessary in our hospitals and our nursing homes and all those places to take care of people. And we have to do all those things necessary to provide that water. And virtually everyone in our office, whether they're taking a phone call on a service request or scheduling people or paying our bills so we continue to get the supplies we need. So they're all essential, but then there's life-sustaining and emergency, and they're the front line. And everyone else is in a support role. So everybody's working. Some are working from home. So I'll tell you a little bit about that in a little bit. But we're focusing on providing water and taking care of emergencies first.
Okay. All right, Bob, that's excellent. Thank you.
Well said.
I was just gonna add that I talked to some of the guys today. Evidently, contractors are getting ready for getting back out on work. We've had a real uptick on all the Pennsylvania One calls that we have to mark out. So everyone's chomping at the bit to get these projects moving again. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Finance reports.
Hello. There are four bills lists on the agenda. Did not note anything out of the ordinary on any of the lists. So I recommend and request your approval for bills, refunds, transfers dated March 6th, March 27th, April 3rd, and April 10th, 2020.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Niederheiser,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt,
Yes.
Ms. Menkel,
Yes.
Mr. Tenney,
Yes.
Mrs. Nagel.
Yes. All right, thank you. The Executive Director's report.
I will be brief tonight, but I do think it's appropriate for me to advise the board and anyone who might be listening that the North Wales Water Authority has continued to carefully monitor this situation, and we have considered the advice and recommendations provided by the World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control, numerous memos that I've received from our solicitor's office providing us with guidance and answering questions, and from our Pennsylvania Municipal Authorities Association, who has been helpful in providing literally daily information to us all. As an assurance to our customers, over the past month, we have initiated many health and safety related protocols to our operation, and to continue that life-sustaining and emergency services I mentioned earlier. We have remained on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout this crisis, and we continue this level of service today, and we expect to continue it in the future. Based on what we're hearing from the governor's office, we expect to advance into the next phase of managing this crisis, May 8th, I believe, and
Yes.
we're already planning a modification to our services. So we will continue to provide all those emergency things and life-sustaining services, but we're going to slowly expand into some non-emergency services. But we will continue to work prudently and in a responsible fashion to safeguard our customers' health and the health and welfare of our employees and their families. For instance, I met with Mr. Murphy earlier today, or I spoke to him on the phone, I should say, and we're talking about resuming some flushing operations next month that we've been holding off right now. But again, we will tread carefully. We'll monitor the situation. We'll amend our processes as we need to, but we'll continue first and foremost to serve our public. We will be compassionate and very reasonable in assisting our customers with financial stress as you authorized tonight, and we'll work with everyone that needs flexible payment plans throughout the rest of the year. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the board for your leadership during this whole crisis, and especially for your willingness to permit and endorse your staff's efforts as we change almost on a daily basis. You've really helped us and given us the confidence to do the things we need to do to remain on the forefront as we weather this event. I've had, without naming names, I can tell you I've been contacted by many other authorities. And when I say many, it really is more than a handful, asking for our advice on how to handle things. And they have welcomed our input. So I thank you all, board members, and I genuinely appreciate with our staff the support you've given us. I have nothing more for tonight, Chairman.
Great. Bob, I think we thank you for your leadership in this time. It's always kept us in good stead, and this is more than we could have ever expected. Thank you.
Yep.
And
Thanks,
to our
Bob.
staff, and to
Yep.
all of our staff.
All right. And now do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you.